So what we're going to do today is we're going to make some resin blooms. We're also going to do an experiment to see if we can speed up the blooms. But what we want to do is make sure that we don't get this effect. Now, I made these two using the incorrect pigment, so I could actually show you what we're trying to avoid. They look lovely this side, but that's not the side we want to see them. We want to be seeing them from this side, and they've not turned out very well at all. Purposely, and that's because I used a pigment paste to make these with. Now, we don't want to be using a pigment paste, so if we look at this one, this is a pigment liquid. It's opaque, so it's not see-through, and it is really liquidy. That's going to stop the resin being too heavy or adding weight to it and making it all sink down, which is what causes this effect. So that's the first thing that's really important. The second one is to make sure that you're using the right resin. The resin that I'm going to be using for this is Pure Glossy by Tea Expert. The reason is I love the pure glossy finish to it, but also it's not a really thick resin. What you want to avoid is using a resin that is thick. Something like the 4-hour demold, that would be too thick for this. And some coating resins would also be too thick for this. So now I've got my resin mixed up. What I'm going to do is pour it in here. I've degassed it using the Resiners Airless Pro. Now I want to pour it in here so it's not up to the top, because we're going to have to put some more colours in this in a second. And we really don't want it overflowing. So 2 of these I'm going to put into the new curing box. So I may as well pour these in there or on the tray to start with. That way I haven't got to worry too much about trying to move them around. And I'm going to be using 3 colours. I'm going to be using a blue, a yellow for an accent, and a white. Now this has been sitting in these moulds now for about a minute, but it's also been sitting in the degasser as well for about 5 minutes while it was degassing. If you're not going to degas it, then let it sit in your moulds for about 5 minutes first. So I've got my colour in there, and now I'm going to give that a good mix and make sure it's thoroughly mixed in, because you don't want any heavy bits. Right, so that's thoroughly mixed in. So that's my white, here's my yellow, and also my blue. So now I've got those in, what I'm going to do is I use some crushed glass for the centre of mine. Now I crush my own glass, but if you haven't got any crushed glass, you can use glitter, but that does tend to move around, or you don't have to use anything. So let's pop that there. So I'm going to do 2 that are this blue colour, and the 2 that are going in the curing box, I'm going to do the yellow colour, so we know which ones are which. Now, sometimes with glass, it doesn't sink into your resin, so all you need to do is take your little silicone brush like this and push it down and manoeuvre it around to where you want it. And you will get some bubbles come up from this, but you can burn them off with a long neck lighter in a minute. Okay, so now it's time to put our colours in, and what I'm going to do to start with is I'm going to put a little bit of blue around the outside of each one, like this. I may have to mix some more up, but it's not a problem because I've got plenty of resin mixed up ready. So now I've got those in, what I'm going to do is put my white in, and what I'm going to do for that is just inside of that blue that I've put in there, I'm going to go around in a spiral. I'm not very neat at these spirals like that, and then do the spirals on these ones as well. Oh, that was not a very neat one. Oh, look, I'm going to go over it. This one isn't going to come out very pretty, but we'll get that sorted. And then I'm going to put my accent colour in, which is this yellow. Now, all I'm going to do is a little thin line of that going round like that. Little thin line of it going round like that. And it's really important when you pull these through as well that you do that correctly, because if not, what you'll find is you will ruin it that way as well without actually... There we go. So now what I'm going to do is, before I do the pull through, I'm going to leave them sitting there for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to burn any bubbles off that have come to the top. So these have now had 5 minutes, and what I'm going to be using is this little tool. It's like a silicone brush, and what you want to do is do it in quarters first, but don't go all the way down and scrape it across the bottom. Just go virtually to the bottom. You want to avoid scraping it across the bottom. So I'm doing quarters like this, and then I'm doing eighths. And I'm going from the outside in to start with. You'll see why in a second. And now I've got that done, what I'm going to do is go roughly from the tip of one of them and go in there and pull that out to the edge. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now I'm going to just put a little swirl in the middle there like that. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do them all like that. So now what I'm going to do is put the top bit on. And if you want a full demo of this and what my thoughts are on it, then I'll check out the video that's coming up after this. So now that's on, I need to set the temperature. I'm going to let this run for 2 hours, and I've got it in centigrade, but you can have it in Fahrenheit if you want. You can switch and swatch about, and I want that to be at about 40. I don't want it any higher at this stage. So there we go. So you can go from anywhere from that load one up to 65. And then these ones, I'm just going to let cure on the side here like this. Well, these are finished curing now, and I had them on for 2 hours, and these cured overnight. So let's see if curing them in the curing box actually prevents them from making the blooms, or if it ruins them or improves them, or actually all it does is speed them up, which is what I'm hoping it's going to do. So let's take a look at these ones first. And they have come out very, very pretty. Look at the 3D in those. Beautiful. Love it. Now, I always like to put a black backing on my blooms, or a dark colour backing, because it makes them stand out a little bit more. Let me show you. So this is what I mean. You've got that, and then when you put something dark behind them, they really, really do pop. And you've got that accent in there of the blue and the yellow and the white. That's come out really pretty. So is that one. So now let's just take our lid off. And they have come out equally, if not a little bit more defined, I think. So because they've had less time to spread out into each other. Look at that one. I think that's really pretty. So in fact, in future, what I will definitely be doing, let's put all 4 together so you can see. So the ones in the curing box, the colours haven't run into each other as much. You can still see quite a lot of that blue. You can see the distinguishing bits where you've run through it. And also you can see the yellow as well a lot more. Where the ones that weren't in the curing box have had more time to spread out into each other. And as a result, they're a softer, more blend of the colours. I suppose it's whatever you want, really. It's whichever one you want to achieve. It really makes a massive difference by using the correct type of pigments as well, because these are the ones that I made with the heavier pigments, and they're always going to come out looking like this. And I've seen so many posts where people are frustrated and said, well, why are my blooms not working? And that's why. So use the correct pigments, the correct liquidy type of pigments. Be sure to check out the video I've got coming up next if you want to learn a lot more about the correct ways and the easiest way to use UV resin. It's a must-see video. Don't miss out on that. That's coming up now. Boot that like button, hit that subscribe button, but most of all, enjoy your resin. Take care. Bye.